Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Michael from the Honest Youth Pastor YouTube channel, the channel that helps believers use biblical discernment in all aspects of life. Today, we are going to continue our Christian music series by looking at a song called Bless Me. Before we get into that, though, if any of you watching have any idea how to do this without getting the video totally blocked, let me know, because this is the third time I'm recording this, and we're just going to look at the lyrics, because every time I do the video or play the audio, it gets cut or blocked. So it's what it is. But I think looking at the lyrics is the intent of this anyway, so we don't necessarily need it. I just think it's better than looking at my face the whole time. But anyway, today we're going to be looking at the song Bless Me. It is the next song on the chart. We're going through the Amazon most streamed music on the Christian charts. And now we're to the song called Bless Me. I had actually never heard of this song before I had to listen to it for this video. It's a very interesting song. Let's get to it real quick. The song itself is very interesting because it is very repetitive. It's written by Kurt Franklin and Maverick City Music, because apparently Maverick City Music owns the charts as far as Christian music is concerned, and it is very repetitive in regards to this verse here. The bless me, bless me, God, indeed. Death has been defeated. He is our victory. Bless me, God, not just for me, but so everyone around me can have everything they need. Let all these folks that's with me, God, have everything they need. And it's very repetitive on that point specifically. Now, something very interesting in regards to when we're talking about songs that are repetitive. Obviously in the Psalms, there's a lot of repetitiveness within the Psalms that we see. Not all of them, but there are some. And then also the way this is written. Right off the bat, this is sort of a prayer, but it's also, especially if you watch the video, this very communal sort of worship service in which everyone is singing it together. And you're going to see in these words, so bless me as you move on. God, indeed, death has been defeated. He is our victory. There's this, obviously, he being Jesus, death being defeated, Jesus rising from the dead. Bless me, God, not just for me, but so everyone around me can have everything they need. Now, then it goes into favor, let favor fall on me, till I'm the conversation of all my enemies. Now, this is very reminiscent, again, of sort of the Psalms, where David is crying out for God to help him defeat his enemies, for all those that speak ill against him to be defeated. It's got that same sort of flavor to it, right? Also, this song here specifically isn't, I wouldn't count it. Well, I need to make this clarification. I wouldn't count it as like a song that we're going to sing in corporate worship, because it's, well, we'll get to it in a minute, but let me sort of intro into it by saying this is us singing to God, but it's not about what God has done for us as much as it is asking God for something. So it's really more of a prayer than it is a worship song declaring what God has done for us and how good he is, but rather it's a prayer for God, give me this so I can give it to others. Give me favor so that all my enemies, I'm the conversation, obviously probably more in a what's happening to him sort of sense. It repeats that song again, or that verse again, and then bless me, Lord, indeed, victory. Again, lots of repetition. Now, it gets to this part here where it says persecuted, not abandoned. Obviously, this is directly being pulled from scripture, some of Paul's letters. We got everything we need. Criticized, never forsaken. We've got everything we need. This we here, so it does switch. This is an I up here, and then it turns into a we down here. We've got everything we need because God is a promise keeper. We've got everything we need. I've got the victory because our God's got everything we need. And this is where it sort of transitions from us asking God to give us something into more of a declarative statement for everyone, and this reminder of who God is and what he's done, right? So there's persecuted, but we're not abandoned. Why? Because we have everything we need. And it's got this flavor to it that even at the beginning, you were asking to be blessed so that you could bless others. It does come off as sort of this sort of maybe monetary blessing, some sort of blessing so you can give to others. So it's obviously some sort of abundance, right? But it does in this section have this sort of hook here that's saying, yeah, but even if I don't get those things, I still have everything I need because of Jesus. Even though, again, fair criticism, doesn't mention Jesus by name, but this is the illusion, of course, when we're talking about this. Now, it goes on to the next part. I shall live and not die. We have everything we need because Jehovah is by my side. We've got everything we need. Did I tell you he's a friend of mine? We've got everything we need. Lift him up, lift him up. Our God's got everything we need. Now, there's two things here that's very interesting in this song. One, you can Google, just Google Songs of the Ascent. And what you're going to see, there's a section of Psalms that are Psalms that the Israelites sung as sort of a reminder who God is and what he did for them as they journeyed to temple for festival. And this is sort of reminiscent of that. I think it seems to be written much like that in regards to it's this declarative statement that we're all singing together, reminding each other of how good God is. And that seems to have that flavor. So one thing I think that really needs to be mentioned here, because there's a lot of churches that simply don't do it, is that we have lots of times there's songs where we'll sing them to God, about how good he is and what he's done for us. But usually in that setting, there's a lack of songs of declaring to one another and reminding each other how good he is, right? Like purposefully, not us singing them as we all face the front, but like this purposeful sort of, as you would see if you actually watch this video, or as you've seen in some of the other Maverick City Music videos we've done, they're in a circle singing to one another because this is a reminder of who God is and what he's done for us. You are singing to remind the other person. And that brings within you worship for who God is and the desire to worship him because of what he's done. But there does need to be that difference, that distinction made, right? There are two types of songs within sort of the gathering. And what we do see historically within the Psalms is that there are Psalms that are deliberately written in this manner to communicate a certain truth of reminder to other believers. So oftentimes, I think in church, we have a lot of songs that are either pop, like sort of pop Christian songs in which they're like uplifting and we sing them by ourselves in the car. We've covered that in previous song reviews we've done. And then there's songs that are obviously songs of worship that we sing to God about how good he is and what he's done for us. And then there are sort of corporate songs of reminder, much like this song, where we're singing about who God is, reminding one another that we've got everything we need because of him. And that, so it even goes into this other part here as we get further into the song, and I never should forget that we've got everything we need. He's never failed me yet. We've got everything we need. Every trial, every test, we've got everything we need. We bless, we bless, we bless, we bless. Our God's got everything we need. And then it repeats this again. So it's this song of really being reminded of who God is. And oftentimes we don't sing those in church, at least in some churches, right? So there are some churches that are like culturally or regionally or ethnically sort of geared toward this type of music specifically. So this was written by Kurt Franklin and Maverick City Music. I don't know if this has any so let me make this loose tie and maybe make a connection here, but I totally admit that I could be wrong on this. The way this is written, and when you listen to the music video, it is very reminiscent of sort of African spirituals in regards to like what was developed sort of during, the early slavery, and then that sort of develops even more and then is taken out of, after, Emancipation Proclamation and slaves are set free, that even develops more. And then when you see, if you're in a predominantly black church, you are going to hear, obviously the songs sound different than you would have in just like a modern evangelical church in the suburbs, right? But a lot of that historically comes from African spirituals that were, written much like this, did take some flavor from the Psalms, are tied like parallel almost with like the Exodus, and a lot of imagery is taken from that even. But this song seems to be set up in that way. I don't know if that's, the reason it's set up this way, but it really sort of has that rhythm to it when you listen to it. So maybe not. But anyway, so to end with this, right? Every time we look at the lyrics and say, hey, is this a worship song to be sung in corporate worship? Yes and no. I would say no in the traditional sense that we would say we're going to gather and sing songs to God about who he is and how good he is and what he's done for us. But there is a place, I think, for a song like this in regards to reminding each other about who he is and what he's done and what that means. And that is going to look a little bit different, I think, depending on the context that you're in. There's going to be some churches that just aren't accustomed to doing this, so they're just not going to do this. But then there's some churches that have a pretty deep-rooted history in having these types of songs in worship, again, for that purpose of reminding each other who God is and what he's done and how amazing that is, as well as songs of worship that are directed directly toward God, about salvation and redemption and those sorts of things as well. So interesting song altogether. If you want to watch the music video, that will be linked in the description below, since I can't apparently play it without getting banned. But you can check that out. Also, other links down there as well if you want to support what we're doing. What do you think? Would your church specifically sing a sort of song like this, or would it just be out of the question and you definitely would not? And second follow-up question, would you consider this a corporate worship song in the context that you're in? I'd be very interested in that. In my context specifically, it wouldn't be something we would sing probably, but I can definitely see in other contexts it being included in the gathering and singing to the Lord. So let me know what you think below, and we'll be back next week with another song. See you then.